Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for a very interesting draft format. So, as a Twitch reward for my subscriber goal, I said I was going to do a bonus YouTube video, and boy, do I have something special for you today. We're going to be playing a vintage cube, but it is a supreme vintage cube. Now, what does that mean? So, only one person drafts this at a time, and that's me. I'm the only person drafting this, okay? So, in each pack, we're going to take the best two cards, and then we're going to open a new pack. So what does this mean? This means that we can end up with multiple copies of the most broken cards in Magic's existence. So we could end up with multiple Lotuses, tons of Moxen, and all sorts of other ridiculous things. And so we're going to be building a 40-card deck with the best of the best that Vintage Cube has to offer. I did 2 of these off camera last night, and in the first one, I drafted 3 Hullbreachers, a Leovold, 2 Time Twisters, a Memory Jar, and another Draw 7 effect. So this is the level of broken that we're probably going to be doing. So buckle up, this should be fun. And guess what? Since only one person is drafting this, there's no draft queue. We just shove our play points and we hop right in. And look at that. Just like that, we are good to go. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger for you all. Beautiful. Okay, this is a really kind of unexciting pack to start things out with. We have no power here. We have no super restricted cards or anything like that. Not even great build arounds. I think Eureka is probably too risky in this format. Everyone is just doing absolutely ridiculous things. Okay. So the 2 things that stand out to me here are Seagate Stormcaller and Snapcaster Mage. These things make it so that if I get something like an Ancestral Recall a little bit later, I can take the best possible advantage of them. The other thing I could do is just pick up something like a Signet. It's not glorious and you'd rather be playing Moxen, but based on my experience last night, a Signet or 2 probably makes your deck most of the time. But I think I'm just going to start off with just 2 pieces of redundancy and make the instants or sorceries that I get just very, very powerful. Yeah, we're not doing so hot on opening the most broken cards in Magic's existence, huh? So, following this up, we could try to go a Storm route. There's a Cabal Ritual and an Empty the Warrens here. But I kind of want to just play something that's degenerate and not reliant on multiple cards, if possible. So I'm looking at Teferi Time Raveler as something that is going to stop counterspells, because just about all of our opponents are probably going to be playing blue. So I'm looking at this card, and then maybe Venser. Venser as just a generic catch-all answer, and Teferi would fill that same role. Kozilek is fine. I like Empty the Warrens. I don't necessarily hate something like Goblin Electromancer. That would also give us stuff to do with Seagate Stormcaller and Snapcaster Mage, make our instants better. But I think I'm going to go with these. Okay, this pack is more like it. Channel, Jace, Karn, Dig Through Time, Gaia's Cradle. These cards are good now. So what is the best? And sort of Body and Mind also is not out of the question either. That card is always great in limited. In my experiences last night, Channel being green often ended up being a little bit hard to cast, but it's very good. I'm kind of looking at Jace and Karn here. I would rather have a finisher like Olamog over Karn. Snapcaster Flashback Channel. It's technically a thing, but eh. Jace and something. Gaia's Cradle is potentially on track to be acceptable as of right now. Channel Jace, Channel Karn. Maybe let's go Channel and Karn. Those two picks work well together. I think Jace is not as good as it used to be in these sorts of formats, although bouncing the creatures that we have is pretty good. Let's go with Channel Karn. Channel Emrakul, huh? It's the dream. Also a Vamp Tutor here. There's also a Tolarian Academy here. I'm on booster number 4 of 18. I haven't hit any power yet, but I'm pretty likely to hit 3-4 pieces of power or something like that over the course of this. So picking up an early Tolarian Academy to hedge is probably reasonable. So I think I want this card. And then I think I'm going to pick up Emrakul as my second card. I would rather have, like, Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger than Emrakul, but beggars can't be choosers. Like, Channel casts this. Tolarian Academy maybe casts this. What am I giving up to pick Emrakul? Probably Gruul Signet, Memory Jar, Venser, or Vamp Tutor. I'm good with this. Sheldak Isle, Emrakul? That's definitely a thing. I can be thinking about Golgari Signet since I picked up Tolarian Academy. I think Force of Negation is probably very good as well. I think I'm looking at Force of Negation, Sheldak Isle here. Where's my artifact mana? I was told there would be artifact mana. Most decks are going to end up with one big broken thing, so I think I like Bribery here. The second pick is a little harder. Probably just a Polluted Delta. Probably just a Polluted Delta. I don't really want to be using picks this early on lands. It's kind of a weak pack. Alright. Channel Stonecoil Serpent? Would really like another channel if we're going to end up trying to go ridiculous with Stonecoil. This pack just as a whole is not super exciting. We don't have the ability to go ridiculous with Birthing Pod. Like, we don't have that many creatures. We have one fetch land for a Lotus Cobra. And there's not things that are just super, super compelling to put me into other colors. And if I want to be ramping towards this stuff, I don't want to be returning lands with Gush. Let's take Signet Stonecoil. These packs are awfully fair compared to what I was looking at last night. We're at just about the halfway point, and we haven't opened up any Moxen yet. Book is fine, Chalice is fine, Tinker is fine. I don't have the Tinker payoff target yet, but I'm probably supposed to take the Tinker. Hoping to get it. I can take the Eureka as another way to put in the Emrakul, but again, I kind of want to avoid taking Eureka and Show and Tell effects in this cube. There's so many spooky things that can happen on the other side of the battlefield. Let's take Chalice Tinker and kind of keep this Tolarian Academy dream alive. Thief of Sanity and Vendilion Click are the other cards that I'm kind of looking at from this pack. The Mishra's Workshop, huh? Don't think we're quite there. I can take Sphinx of the Steel Wind as my Tinker target. That's fine. And then I think I'm looking at either Lotus Petal or Mana Leak. Seagate Stormcaller is not looking great, neither is the Snapcaster Mage. I mean, we're one Ancestral at any time away from making that not the case. A Raphellos. Bolas's Citadel could also be another Tinker target. So I'm looking at Kozilek, Signet, Narset. Kind of Raphellos in this pack. I don't know. Raphellos might not be awesome. I don't even know that I'm going to play green at this point. Like, the channel is good. But I haven't been offered very many other things that make me want to be in green. And I might end up wanting to be in, like, white for this Teferi or something else. I think the best possible dream is that I get to be a big mana deck. And that probably means playing towards the Tolarian Academy continuing to be good. So I don't know that I need this if I have like 1, 2, 3 other big things already and can potentially pick up another later. So keeping the green dream alive, I think I'm going to pick up Raphellos and Orzhov Signet and pass on Kozilek and Narset and kind of hope that I can make big mana work. Okay. Still just not hitting on acceleration. The good acceleration, at least. Olamog will be much more castable than some of the other finishers that I already have. I think I need to take Olamog Treachery or Olamog Force of Will. Probably Force of Will. I already have a Bribery, which is probably just better than Treachery. Under... Finale of Devastation can be a way to get fatties into play, but it's probably worse than just running another fatty because it's going to be more expensive. And what's the second card I take out of this pack? It's like Karn. Maybe it's Karn. I need to open some busted stuff, thank you. That helps a lot. What does this card do? Alright. We're taking a Mox Sapphire. And then... don't have a green creature for natural order, or that many green creatures to sacrifice to it. Just another Venser as a mid-range piece of interaction. Probably. Okay, alright. Tail end of this draft starting to look a little better. So I will be taking a Mox Pearl. And then probably just an Olamog or a Phyrexian Metamorph. Olamog is really good. 10 mana is easier to get to than you would expect in this format. Cruise? I don't know that Cruise is actually great. I unfortunately have a good number of cards that aren't going to be great. Sneak Attack is a consideration with the Emrakul, but is, like, not quite as good with Olamogs. So I don't know that I do that. I can take Sunring Titan. And then that probably lets me take maybe Emrakul, Stonecoil, and Karn out of the deck or something like that. And it's like a secondary Tinker target as well. I don't hate this. Tezzeret is okay. And untap an Everflowing Chalice, which would be cool. We don't have something like a Gilded Lotus that would really put that over the top. I'm a little lacking in card draw right now, so the Treasure Cruise is okay. Birds of Paradise also not necessarily bad. Acceleration is acceleration is acceleration. And it makes it easier to get green for channel. And it can also be a source for Sphinx of the Steel Wind if I somehow end up casting that. Although that might not make the deck anymore. Let's pick up the card that is banned or restricted in a couple of formats. When in doubt. Another Bribery? We're almost a Heartbeat of Spring deck. I think it's risky. Probably too risky. We pick up Overgrown Tomb, Polluted Delta can get green. Alright, 2 boosters left to do some broken shit. Mana Crypt is great. Tropical Island is great. Mind Twist, also very good. But I'm probably not going to be hurting in the playable count. So I think I like a land and a Mana Crypt. Leovold is also respectable. One more piece of power for the Oh! Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Ancestral Recall probably makes both our Snapcaster and Seagate Stormcaller playable at the last minute, which is really cool. And then I probably just take a Warren Power Stone or a Counterspell. I think I'm going to grab the Warren Power Stone. I really want to be getting to 5 and 10 as my thresholds. I think I'm good with this. All right, we've got deck building to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is just, like, remove everything that is going to count as, like, a land or piece of mana and just get a feel for my playables. So Teferi is not going to make the deck. Stonecoil Serpent is not going to make the deck. I don't think Emrakul makes the deck. I can just play castable cards instead. And that probably means that most of the rest of this stuff ends up staying if I am good with that. There is just a world where I give up on the channel, since it's green and is going to be a little bit hard to cast. And then just play a couple of dual lands that And maybe cast the Sphinx of the Steel Wind. I don't super want this Sphinx of the Steel Wind in my deck, but I kind of need to play 2 payoff artifacts in case I draw one. With the signets that I have, it's actually pretty reasonable that I can cast the Sphinx of the Steel Wind some proportion of the time. If I have either one of those signets, 2 of the 3 colors are covered, and the Overgrown Tomb is free anyway. So Overgrown Tomb plus Azorius Signet can cast that Sphinx. That's not crazy. Alright. So I probably got there on artifact count to make Tolarian Academy playable. Which is good. So I could play 16 mana sources other than this stuff, and that could be the deck. This is probably a little bit too much top end. Like maybe I pull this. I think Karn is probably worse than a lot of these other finishers that are in the pile. Beldock is creature specifically or card? Card. Oh, man, this green on turn 2 is going to be sketch. I don't know that I'm supposed to play this Raphalos. But my playable count is kind of low-ish. I took more lands than I would have liked to, but a few of these were utility lands, so I don't really regret it. This means that I'm not super going to be in the market for sideboarding. Alright. Let's add basic lands, and I'm going to need to ignore this count. Where am I? So this is 16 mana sources. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue sources, and 1, 2, 3, 4 green sources. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this Raphalos is not good. The channel is still probably good enough because, like, channel plus one of these is going to instantly get us there. So let's pull that from the deck. Add another forest. Oh, I shouldn't be counting this as a land. I should be counting that as a 2-drop. So this is 16 lands with 1, 2, 3, 4 mana rocks. I am a big mana deck. Maybe I just run the 17th land. It's run 17th land or play one of these cards, none of which I think are great. 3, 4, 5 green sources to splash 1 double green card. I already have 10 blue sources. I can probably fit one more forest in here without it being really detrimental to anything else that's going on. Because I only need 1 blue to function in the early game. And I don't necessarily need any colors in the early game if I have, like, signets and chalices and worn power stones to play out. Alright. Let's go ahead and try this out and see how it performs. Alright. Welcome for round 1. We have sort of a medium minus power level hand. This channel is dead anyway. I can't fuel the treasure cruise. I have nothing to go with this. I think I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this one. It's possible I should keep it, but I feel like I'm just off too many pieces in a lot of different directions. Oh, baby. Land, Sapphire, Mana Crypt. And the ability to tinker on turn 1. Yeah, I think it'll be okay to keep this one. I probably get rid of the ever-flowing chalice here. Just plan on tinkering on one. Our opponent doesn't have a Force of Will or Force of Negation. Things bode well for us. Ah! Ah! This is why you have 2 Tinker targets in your deck, by the way. Is there a world where I just play Karn first and then Tinker next turn? Sphinx of the Steel Wind is pretty fair. Like, I wanted Sundering Titan to blow up this land. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to play Karn this turn. I think I'm good with that. It uses my mana a little bit more efficiently. Plus, it sets me up for the comic moment of drawing my second Tinker target. And I know everyone loves that. I think we're gonna run Mono Tails today. Sacrifice the Mana Crypt. Oh, it has just resolved. We'll dump the Sphinx into play and then play Sheldock Isle. And a free treasure cruise later sounds fantastic. All right, so it's 20 or fewer cards in it. And it is a library. We could just get our Sphinx Ventured or something, and life is awkward. Like Venser, Jace. Not Oko. But there's stuff that can happen. Treasury? That's not good. And I can't really do anything about it. Snapcaster Tinker is not going to be good. That will probably beat me. Can Snapcaster Tinker and turn Sapphire into a Mana Rock? That's better? That thins my deck and allows me to work towards Sheldock Isle a little bit more. That doesn't feel good, but I think it's what's happening. I've upgraded my Mana Rock. I have 4, 5, 6 mana of 8 I need for Sundering Titan. But I don't think Sundering Titan is going to erase the lifelink on this very effectively. It's also, like, Vigilant. Yeah, feels like I'm awfully dead. But it does seem like my deck is more broken than my opponent's deck, which is good news. Don't mind that at all. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can take the chalice, cast it for x equals 2. Then I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, what if I save it for next turn and then next turn cast it for x equals 3 instead? Then I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Overgrown Tomb makes 10. Have I played a land yet? I haven't played a land yet, but I can't get both land and chalice. Yeah, okay. So Ulamog is the way that I can win this. We'll get rid of their Sphinx, which was really my Sphinx. And hopefully everything's fine after that. Oh wait, I'm just dead to this Sphinx, aren't I? Shoot. Yeah, I'm just dead to the Sphinx. I did the math for, like, my mana working out and killing them, but not my life total. Womp womp. Alright, lost to my own bomb. That's fair. That's limited life. I think I like most of what I've got going on here. The Teferi is more interesting than normal. I could board out of green and into white for Teferi. But I think casting a 10-drop that exiles two of my opponent's permanents is still probably how I win this most of the time. I think I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. Drawing the Sundering Titan probably lost us that game, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes. I would like to play first. So yeah, I can be holding up Mana Leak on turn 1. Vents are their stuff. I don't, like, have blue for some of my stuff, but this hand is probably a keep. I have a lot of islands to hit to make this hand insane. I'm not going to be trying to tag a Preordain. I'm going to try to get a real spell out of this. Valerian Academy would be great. Alright. Mono Tails. Tails rewards us. That's awkward. I think I'm doing that, though. Wow, can I draw all of those? A lot of blanks. But it sets us up to have huge mana. Probably good with it. This reduces enough mana for me to cast Venser. I could just Venser their land now, but if I can Venser a spell instead, I'd prefer that. Otherwise, I will Venser a land on their end step. Just get a clock in play. No, 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 no. Oh, they have a commit memory. So I might just want to let the force of will resolve and then counter the bribery rather than return it to their hand. I can return it to their hand and counter it next turn, but then I have like nothing left. Let's force of will and pitch the mana leak. Tails is strong. All right. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. I can make it 5, 6. If this is 2, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if this is 3, it's 10 total. I already have the 10th total mana from the island that's on top of my deck. If I want to leave up double blue, it has to be this. I can also just go like this, 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 and then cast it that way. Multi-kicker 2. All right. So now I need to spike something cool off the top of the deck. No. My opponent has 2 cards left to effectively my 0 cards. Been betrayed by Tails. I had so many hits that it made me think that it was totally fine to keep this Everflowing Chalice in the Tolarian Academy. We'll see if that actually ends up being true. I'm just going to hold that. I can just miss out for a couple of draw steps and die to whatever my opponent does. That's not good. So this is going to draw my opponent a bunch of extra cards, and they're already ahead on cards. I'm going to be fine if I can hit a big bomb, especially one of my 2/10 drops. But the game is slipping away if I don't. There is also the world where this mana crypt kills me. It's behaving pretty well right now, though, so we'll see. So we have like bribery, Ulamog, ancestral. A Snapcaster Mage is still pretty good. Plenty of hits, but my opponent isn't doing anything that like actually kills me in the immediate future, which makes me think their hand is reactive. Thundering Titan also like pretty respectable. Blow up 4 of my opponent's lands. Plains, swamp, island, mountain. Alright, Mana Crypt. Being good. Tinker. Tinker gets the Sundering Titan. And gets rid of my Mana Crypt. Yep. We will get that back eventually. But I think we're dead here. I really need another banger on top of the library. This thing is nearing ultimate, and if it nears ultimate, I probably can't beat that. Because I'm winning with the attack step with this deck. Actually, I'm usually hoping to win via concession, but same deal. What do you got? Nothing? Holding up that much mana? Oh, trying to figure out how to signet it properly. I get it. Alright. So that means that their ancestrals would look real hot. I think this is the point where I can probably safely pack in this one. I think our deck was okay versus our opponent's deck, but maybe I needed to shuffle off of that Ponder and I couldn't just keep this artifact mana. But with Olamog, Sundering Titan, Sphinx, Treasure Cruise, Bribery, Karn, Ancestral, with 9 cards that were pretty live to be great after that situation, I think it was okay. And even, like, the Snapcaster Mage is still pretty good. Alright, we'll be back next round. Round 2, we're being presented with sort of an interesting mulligan decision. This hand is exceptionally fair. It has no acceleration, but it has a decent amount of interaction, which probably means that I keep this. This hand improves a whole lot if we draw a Mox or a Mana Crypt. Alright, opponent has had 2 pieces of power so far to our 0 pieces of power. Feels bad. I was top with that Preordain as well. From Mox, huh? Are we going to be facing a combo deck? Oh wow, Mind's Desire went under that? Alright, so our hand is now much worse than it was previously as a whole. Our opponent has gotten 2 land drops and 2 artifacts in play before we got a turn. Not great. I would expect to lose this game the vast majority of the time now. We do have 2 pieces of counter magic, which is cool, but our opponent's playing a storm deck and they got to refuel. Oh, this card is really good. It's just like attack in for 5, draw 2. I have to force that. This is obviously not where I want to be, because now I've dropped a counter spell on a fair card. Yeah, I don't see worlds where I win this game. Maybe the match, but not this game. Also, like, opponents, please, like, cast your cantrips before making your land drops. Make your decisions with maximum information. Okay, thanks. This is a PSA from Phil. Fuck. Alright, so that thing is gonna be happening. I think I just need to cast this for x equals 2 and try to set up something degenerate, like a bribery. But I'm going to 2-for-1 myself again after my opponent played a bunch of cards and time twisted, and they have a card advantage machine in play. Without paying their mana costs. Okay. So we're just going to like die to a channel right now. Card is insane. And it also like scales more and more depending on how good your opponent's deck is. Do I counter this or do I let them rip into their life total and hope they just have one big dumb spell that I get to counter? I think I'm gonna go high risk, high reward. Hope they do something really big that I can force of negation. I don't think I beat this thing sitting in play. Well, I can't let them time twister again, right? Yeah, I don't think I can let them time twister again. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. So Sundering Titan can be next turn. Opponent still has 4 cards in hand. What do they have? Like, one of those was probably a land at minimum. But what beyond that? Oh, great. How am I supposed to beat this? Like, I'm going to blow up 3 of my opponent's lands next turn. And I just don't think it's going to be enough. Sure, that's fine. They did not activate that Karn. Cool. Now I just get counterspelled and accept my death. Two, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Top deck Well, yeah. All right. Let's pack it in there. We could literally be dead if my opponent minused the Karn. But I think I'm not really on outs here. Teferi and Karn become slightly interesting as ways to bounce those stupid Shinobi. Do I want to pivot into white for Teferi? Kind of. But I'd be taking one of the most broken things out of my deck. Just the ability to go turn 2, channel, and big dumb card. So I don't know that I'm supposed to do that. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand... God, this hand has no blue mana. Like, I can make 4 mana on turn 1, but it has no blue, and I really need double blue to do anything with this hand. We're going to 5. This is pretty awful. This is unfortunate. Something like Ancestral could really save my bacon here. Oh, thanks. Right on. Right on time, Ulamog. Alright. Hopefully we get to make a nice Venser tempo play, and then hopefully we draw one of the 2 briberies. Like, bribery for a ninja is not bad at all. I don't think I'm supposed to just Venser an opponent's land. I have so little gas that I don't think I can just throw any cards away. Plus, if I wait a little bit longer and I can, like, play a Venser around a miscalc, like, that technically has some value. Yeah. I guess let's take the Overgrown Tomb here. We already have 3 sources of blue in play and a 4th in hand. Three, four, five, 6. This is 7. I need 3 more mana. An Everflowing Chalice, I guess, is cool. But I really need to do something this turn. I think this thing connecting once when my opponent already has 6 cards and I've double mulliganed is disastrous. Cool. I need to just chump block this. Since they can cast these cards without paying their mana cost, if they hit any of my big fatties, I pretty much lose on the spot. Alright, I am really feeling the quality of the packs that I opened in this draft. Like, I have cool stuff going on, but my cool stuff is all, like, very end game. Yep. And we're dead. Just, just dead. Boy. The third round starts with a mulligan. This hand doesn't do anything. What did I do to deserve this today? Who did I hurt? Okay, well, we can maybe still talk Magic Online. This is fine. I'm gonna get rid of the forest and I think the Venser. It's possible that I'm supposed to just get rid of this polluted delta, hoping that Ancestral draws me lands, but I do want to make land drops pretty consistently with this deck. I think I am supposed to Ancestral now, after playing Mana Crypt, yeah. So I didn't hit any of the things that pay me off for playing the Mana Crypt, but I want to play the Mana Crypt out to play around Spell Pierce. Yeah, sure. Like, that's very good, but I'll just force whatever you do next. Tails never fails. See? Let's just Ancestral again on their turn, huh? That sounds pretty good to me. I can also just hard cast Force of Negation. I could also just have jammed Karn. So many cards. So many cards. I'm Snap Force of Willing anything they do here. Pitching Treasure Cruise, by the way. I target me. Tails never fails? Tails never fails. Confirmed. Now I have Force of Negation, pitch Seagate Stormcaller for their next card. I'm also at 26 in Library. Karn? Karn seems good. Let's go 2. Cast a Signet. Play Forest. 2, 3, 4. Karn. I don't know that I need more cards this turn. Let's make a 3/3 that can become a 4/4 next turn. And let's just bring the beats. Our opponent playing a large creature is the scariest thing that can happen. So this time, this round, it feels like our deck does something. Tails, continue your march of domination. Oh, that's insanely good. It's possible that I was supposed to just play out the Seagate Stormcaller as a 2-1. I'm just doing this to put the last 2 points of damage into play. This is something that I probably should have done by playing the Seagate Stormcaller instead, just as a bear. But I didn't think about it until I had already passed the turn. Tails is so strong. Alright, so we're going to get an island this turn. That puts 20 cards into my library, which means I can do this at instant speed? Yeah, I can do this at instant speed. So I can do it at instant speed and grow these constructs, if necessary. My opponent may just be dead. Oh, so they didn't block? Okay. So now I probably want to cast this. This protects the Karn from just dying to the Venser if my opponent has something that, like, could sweep the board afterwards. Alright, hands where we open up with Ancestral and then cast Ancestral again on turn 2 look way better than most of the other hands that we've had thus far. Now, against this opponent who has shown us, like, Cryptic Command and Venser, I think this is the time where I go ahead and board out of this busted card and into Teferi. Actually, I might want to leave that specifically because it can allow me to cast Sphinx of the Steel Wind. Do I care about that, though? Probably not. It is a second source. Alright, I'll keep that. And play. I play 3 islands. I have 5, 6 white sources. I think I'm good with that. Now I have 2 black sources in the deck that can hard cast Sphinx of the Steel Wind if things get weird and the game goes really long. This is an early Tinker. I will keep this. I don't think opponent has counterspells based on how quickly that went. Or at least not a free counterspell. What would I want to get rid of next turn to cast the Tinker? Maybe Everflowing Chalice is the least valuable of these. Multi-kicker 1, done. Pay 2. On it, just like broadcasting that they don't have whatchamacallit, Spell Pierce. I think I'm just going for it. I could wait a turn, but I just like feel that my opponent does not have a counterspell in my heart of hearts. Perfect content moment right there. Alright, do you have like an Ancestral to get? Because if you do, I probably just lose. I'm gonna miss land drops and be slowed down just so much. Chart, of course. Why are you playing Spellseeker? The best thing you can get is Chart, of course. Ah! I really wanted to hit a land drop that turn, so I could play double Signet and then have Bribery the following turn. But things aren't really going well here. Sadly, I don't have Mana Leak up. And my opponent wasn't lazy that time with their Coalition Relic, so they might have Cryptic Command. Which sucks for people named Phil. That's what you're discarding? You're discarding Cryptic Command and Remand when I'm short on mana? Interesting. Do you just have, like, mana drains now? Okay, in good news, I have a realistic win condition now. I just wait 6 turns, and then I cast that, and I blow up whatever my opponent has. And it doesn't matter if they have a counterspell, everything is fine. Yeah, we're just gonna chill. I don't even know that I'm supposed to cast the Bribery now. My opponent discarded 2 counterspells, which makes me think they have other counterspells. If I wait till I draw a land, I can Bribery with Mana Leak available. Yeah. I don't think I'm supposed to go for it here. My opponent doesn't have pressure, and they also didn't use Coalition Relic. It probably doesn't matter at that stage for them. I already have my colors. I can just get the Overgrown Tomb so I don't draw a tapped land later. This I don't think I mind playing. I can still hold up a counter spell while doing that. Ah. So, they have 2 mana available, right? 1, 2? Yes, I'm mana leaking this. Which does tap me out for next turn if I want to play around Days being their last card. Great. I can't Force of Negation for free on my turn. So they'll probably choose counter draw since they're hellbent now. But a heads up play would potentially be to counter and bounce my Shelldock Isle. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. And potentially just dead to multiple different bodies here. What does that do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's short of this. And I probably can't put this at play when I'm at this. Hold on, that does make Sphinx of the Steelwind. That's probably fine, right? For 6, 7, 8, just cast Sphinx of the Steelwind. And then hope to make it to Bribery mana and finish things off. Alright. My margins here are very slim. My opponent's best line might actually be... No. My opponent could attack in with everything. I block Torrential Gearhulk. I take 5, gain... No, that doesn't do anything for them. Yeah. I might be able to turn the corner on this. You wasted a lot of mana. Tails? Oh, thank you, Tails. Excuse me. 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, alright. With CMC 2 or less. Well, that's fine. Lol at Torrential Gear Hulk here. Fractured Identity and Elspeth Conquered's Death are a little bit spooky. Alright, so I can do this without paying the mana cost? I can. I see. So this puts me at 21 cards in deck. This is Vigilant. I'll go ahead and crash on in with this. That puts me to 11 life. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and play this as a potential chump blocker for if things go wrong. It also gives me exactly 13 damage, 6, 11, 12, 13. And that means if I cast an Olimog off of Shelldock Isle and my opponent doesn't play another creature, I just get to attack for lethal next turn. Oh, I guess that's not true. There's still the Colonnade. Tails! Tails is so OP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But not this turn. With that one, at least. I will cast an Olimog. I will get rid of Torrential Gear Hulk and Celestial Colonnade. And that should do it. Okay, not a super impressive first draft here. Let's take a quick look at that. All right, it shows it us in this format. I don't like that. Let's look at my picture instead. Not a super impressive first draft deck, obviously. We went 1-2. We were hurting for a little bit more artifact acceleration than what we got. We didn't really see the Tolarian Academy do super busted things. We had the Tinker plan. It humorously got disrupted once when we drew our card that we really wanted to tinker out. Our interaction was maybe slightly suboptimal. We did have 2 force effects, a mana leak, and Venser's. But like a mana drain, for example, would have been so good in this double Olimog deck. I'm not super happy with what I put together. Let me know in the comments if you think there was any like big picks that I messed up on that could have shaped this deck a little bit more. We did only end up playing that like channel in the main deck, so like it's very possible that I could have picked up a different color once I realized that we are probably unlikely to be playing too many forests. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video and you want to see more of this in the future, please consider liking this video. And if you're really liking my content, give me a shout out in the comments. Have a great rest of the day.